Welcome everyone to this explainer. Today we're going to take the Claude Code GitHub integration and completely transform it from this kind of abstract concept into a highly practical, absolute time saver for your daily workflows. I mean, if you've ever found yourself wishing for an extra set of hands to squash those tedious little bugs while you focus on the big picture, you're absolutely going to love seeing what this integration can actually do.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap of the exact technical architecture we're building today. First up, we'll meet your AI colleague. Second, setting up the integration. Third, autonomous issue resolution. And finally, automated pull request reviews. Let's get to it.
Section 1. Meet your AI colleague. Before we start typing any commands, let's just take a second to demystify exactly what this integration is doing under the hood.
So the crucial point is the Claude Code GitHub integration fundamentally functions as a bridge. It seamlessly connects your highly customized local terminal environment directly over to your remote GitHub repository. You can almost think of it as a dedicated high-speed conduit. It lets Claude interact with your central codebase just as effortlessly as if it were a colleague sitting right there at the desk next to you.
And this brilliantly illustrates the real magic of that bridge. When we install this integration, it doesn't just hand us one generic tool, it automatically generates two completely distinct GitHub Actions for us. On one hand, we've got the Claude Issue Resolver. Think of this guy as your autonomous, on-demand developer. It literally creates feature branches and fixes bugs the second you mention @Claude in an issue. On the other hand, we have Claude Code Review. This one acts more like your extremely vigilant senior engineer, automatically triggering the moment a pull request is opened to give you immediate, actionable feedback. Section 2. Setting up the integration. All right, let's jump right into the technical execution and actually get this thing set up. Well, before we can officially invite Claude to the codebase, we've got a couple of straightforward developer prerequisites to knock out. First, you absolutely have to have the GitHub CLI installed on your local machine. You can easily grab that via Homebrew if you're on a Mac or Winget for Windows. Second, you just need to authenticate your terminal. You simply run the command ghauth-login. Once you're logged in there, boom, your environment is perfectly prepped.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is just how beautifully simple the setup is. You don't even have to leave your Claude Code chat session or dig through complex web menus. Right inside your terminal chat, you just fire off this built-in /command/install GitHub app. Hitting enter on that one single line is the spark that kicks off the entire initialization process.
Once you trigger it, Claude guides you through this rapid four-step flow. First, it asks you directly in the terminal which repo you want to target. Next, it pops open a browser window asking you to authorize its access on GitHub. Then, it prompts you to authenticate with Anthropic to generate a secure token. Finally, and honestly, this is the coolest part, Claude literally writes its own pull request in your repository containing the YAML files for 2 new GitHub Actions. Once you merge that PR, the whole shebang is 100% set up. Section 3. Autonomous Issue Resolution. Okay, moving from setup to the fun part, let's watch our hero tackle a real-world coding problem. Now, every good story needs a villain, right? And ours is a classic, a tedious manual UI bug. Imagine you're scanning your repo issues, and some user has submitted this. Link from title missing. There is no link from the title in the navbar to the homepage. It's an easy fix, sure, but it's exactly the kind of context-switching busy work that just completely shatters a developer's flow state. Normally, you'd have to pull down the latest branch, hunt down the file, write the fix, push it back up. Well, not anymore. Now, you just deploy your AI hero. Directly inside the GitHub issue comments, you type out the magic trigger. @Claude, can you fix this? I'm going to comment over here. That one simple mention is all it takes to wake up the Claude Issue Resolver we just installed. Let's move to and see how this builds, because watching this happen is actually fascinating. Back in the terminal, Claude literally writes its own to-do list and gets to work completely autonomously. It reasons through the exact steps. It examines the current navbar code, figures out where the link needs to go, tests the changes locally, commits and pushes everything to a brand new feature branch, and then provides you with a handy pre-populated link to create the pull request. It does all the heavy lifting. You just get to sit back and monitor. Section 4. Automated pull request reviews. So Claude pushed the fix, and the very second we create that pull request, our second automated workflow springs right into action. Instantly, the Claude Code Review action triggers in the background. It meticulously evaluates the new code against some pretty strict criteria.
It's checking code quality, sniffing out potential bugs, looking at performance impacts, and scanning for security vulnerabilities. For our little navbar fix, we get a highly satisfying row of big green ticks across the board, culminating in a confident approve for the overall status. It's an instant, automated peer review, done in seconds. With the PR reviewed and approved, let's celebrate a bit. We merge it, pull down the changes, fire up the browser, and test the front-end UI. And look at that. The title correctly turns purple on hover, the pointer icon shows up, and clicking it successfully routes us right back to the homepage. The bug is totally squashed, behaving exactly as requested, and you didn't manually write a single line of code to make it happen.
Real quick, before we wrap up, I want to remind all the tech-savvy folks watching that these generated GitHub Actions are not locked boxes. If you want to customize how Claude behaves, you absolutely can. Dive right into those YAML files in your repository and tailor the actions to fit into completely new, custom workflows for your specific team. This out-of-the-box setup is really just your starting line. So we've covered some incredible ground today, transforming basic terminal commands into a concrete workflow that basically handles bug fixes and code reviews for you. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. With an AI autonomously resolving your tedious repository issues and meticulously reviewing your code, how will you repurpose your newly freed development time? Think about the massive, complex architectural problems you can finally tackle. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and happy coding.